And we will have 22 constitutional amendments on the ballot this time. And in case you never have voted in Alabama, what would you do if you went into the booth and faced this?
It's pretty awesome. Like, you should be prepared then before you go into the ballot box.
You would have to be, because you could not have the opportunity to read all of that. Now, I believe we have 8 statewide amendments that are coming up this time, and the others, of course, are county amendments, and they will pertain just simply to one county, but of course will have to be voted on statewide.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see all of you out this morning. This will be my last official press conference as acting governor, and I appreciate all of you turning out. In fact, I look forward to Friday morning with great anticipation. I had talked to Governor Wallace this morning just a few minutes ago, and but his spirits are extremely high, and he asked me just to convey his real sincere best wishes to all of you this morning. A few things this morning, and give you an opportunity to ask any questions you might want to ask about the last month's activities and anything that might have happened that you'd like to talk about. I personally would like to thank all of you for this administration insofar as the progress that we're going to make, and prospects of a rate increase for the Alabama Power Company facing us for several weeks now, and I might say that everything that's happened thus far concerning the power company has been a joint effort between the governor and myself. We talked about that again this morning, and we're going to continue the fight against the power company's rate increase. And we've had Maurice Bishop, who's the attorney handling the case for us in Washington on several occasions recently, checking into the power company's annual report for the year 1971, and also checking into other matters concerning this particular utility in Alabama. And we found some rather interesting figures and some things that I think the people of Alabama should be aware of. For instance, all this talk about the possibility of a power shortage, and the people are being fed this on a more or less daily basis as to the possibility of a power shortage, and this being the reason that they have to have the $30 million in increased power rates. And yet, last year, according to their figures, they spent over $5 million for demonstration and selling expenses in the year 1971, which means that they are trying to get the people of Alabama to spend more money to use more electricity, and then coming back and telling them that they've got to have $30 million because there might be a possibility of a power shortage in the state in the very near future. Now, in addition to the sums spent for legal retainers and legal fees, we find that the power company spent over $500,000 that we can find just at first glance looking at these documents, over $500,000 on consulting fees. You see a lot of consultants who, I assume, perform some service for the company. Nevertheless, they are scattered around the state pretty strategically. Well, if the Public Service Commission is going to abide by the wishes of the governor's office and not maybe try to do something that's not in the best interest of the people of Alabama at this time. Are there any questions?
Well, whether or not do you see any chance of strengthening the law?
Well, I don't think the Lieutenant Governor needs any more power as such. I think perhaps the duties of the Lieutenant Governor need to be more defined, more clearly defined, and I think this would be good for future administrations. I think the office of the Lieutenant Governor definitely should be strengthened in the sense that it ought to be no question as to the status of the Lieutenant Governor, and I think certainly this would be in the best interest of the people, as these events have shown most clearly. And the fact that we were here on a full-time basis during the period of time prior to the unfortunate incident in Maryland, I think really gave me some help that I needed to carry out the duties that I did have to carry out during this interim period. But fortunately also, we just had a good situation insofar as the governor's cabinet and myself and the governor himself and all the people connected with the administration, and things went as smoothly as possible.
Mr. Mayor and all of the wonderful citizens of Birmingham, Coach Bryant, Coach Jordan, Ms. Agnew and I want to say how much we appreciate your very warm welcome. We're delighted to be back here, and particularly for such a wonderful occasion as the Birmingham Touchdown Club dinner tonight. I have to say that this is really someplace as far as football is concerned. Who can equal a record like Coach Bryant's 11-3 this year? That's 11 wins and 3 calls from the president.
Great privilege to me to welcome Mr. Vice President. I think that it's a great thing for Birmingham. It's great for the university, and I want to commend the Touchdown Club for being able to get him here. I hope he enjoyed his visit, and it's certainly an honor to be with you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Vice President and Ms. Agnew, I'm delighted on behalf of all the people all over the state of Alabama and the nation, indeed, to welcome you to Birmingham, and we're most delighted and thrilled over the fact that you're here. We know what sports-minded people you are and what tremendously great people you are. And I'm just delighted to be here myself.
I believe that Vice President Agnew is one of the most popular public figures ever to come into Alabama. And we are happy to welcome him to our state. We feel that he is mindful of our problems. We feel that he thinks as the vast majority of the people of Alabama think.
In Maryland, I believe. What was she able to tell you about the incident? Well, I didn't ask her any details of the incident itself. I've heard on the television a moment ago a cameraman who was there and who described a great deal of detail when it happened. I talked to Cornelia, and of course she was concerned about George's condition, naturally, but we didn't talk about any details or anything. And how did she sound to you? Well, she's close as any wife would be whose husband was critically wounded. But she was composed and quite concerned, but composed. All of the children know it now. Most of them are older. I assume they all do, yes. In fact, we're waiting here now for... Does the youngest one know Lee? I'm not sure, but I feel sure that she does. But I'm not sure. We're waiting now for Peggy, and then we're ready to take off to go and be there with him. Thank you, Judge.
Sister to the governor and presidential candidate, in view of what's happened, what would be your assessment? What would you say to your brother when you get a chance to talk to him? Would you ask him to halt the campaign or what?
No, I would tell him to go on with the campaign. That's what he would want to do. And I feel sure that's what he will do.
And if your mother gets to go up there this weekend, there'll be a special plane flyer up there. What was your first reaction when you heard the news?
I couldn't believe it at first, that such a thing could happen to our government.
Well, like everybody else, this is such a senseless thing. You know, little people killing off big people. They're trying to.
I hope he has a speedy recovery. I know that he must have suffered a lot, and I don't know what our country is coming to have such incidents of this and the things previous to this.
I felt very bad about it. I thought that this country was going to the dogs by something like that happening.
Pretty much you're still in a state of shock today?
We all very much so. We feel it's a personal tragedy. It is. Because we all very fond of the government. He's very good to us.
Thank you very much.
We feel it's a personal tragedy. Plus the whole nation.
There has been no stoppage of the functions of government. All departments are continuing to run as normal. The governor's assistants and aides and advisors are continuing in their capacity, as is a spokesman, and we have had no problems whatsoever.
Snyder, who is the national director, told me yesterday, told all the staff heads, that we would go on with the campaign because this is what the governor would want us to do. When the word about a paralysis and this came out, the attitude was that the paralysis might affect a limb or it might affect a part of his body, but it couldn't affect this heart of his, this marvelous spirit of his that has made this campaign and has caused this reflection of the viewpoint of the people. The campaign is a campaign of the man's heart, of the man's soul, of the man's being, and what he's done in going out to the people and reflecting their viewpoint is bigger than a paralysis of a limb or an arm or something. That it's so much bigger than that. People have responded to George Wallace because he's speaking for them, for millions of people across this country.
At this time, the hospital reports that the bleeding seems to be under control, and the hospital also says that at this point
The vital signs are good. His blood pressure is 110, which the authorities at the hospital feel is significantly good under the circumstances. He continues to be in the operating room. Captain Dothard is in fine condition. It should be pointed out that this hospital reports that it uses the terms serious and critical synonymously, which may explain some of the confusion in the earlier statements. The first statement reported he was in serious but stable. The second statement that he was critical but stable. Governor George C. Wallace was admitted to Holy Cross Hospital in Silver Springs, Maryland. He was conscious upon arrival. At last report, he was in the emergency room. Hospital spokesman said the governor appeared to be hit 3 times in the right arm, 1 time on the right side of the abdomen, and this was well below the rib cage. His condition at last report is listed as serious but stable. Mrs. Wallace is with the governor at the hospital at this time. The chief of Governor Wallace's security force, Captain E.C. Dothard, also was struck in the abdomen. He was reported as conscious and alert upon arrival at the hospital. His condition is listed as fair to satisfactory and stable. A woman identified only as a Maryland campaign worker was struck 1 time in the leg. Reports from the scene said the chief of the Secret Service detail assigned to Governor Wallace, Jim Taylor, knocked a pistol from the hand of a white man before he was taken into custody. And that's the report as we have it at this time. We expect further reports.
Judge, was there much concern expressed by the governor or the family that something like this might happen?
No, I haven't talked to George along that line. Of course, there's always that danger, regrettably. But thankfully, it's been fairly free of any kind of violence this campaign, and I haven't really heard too much talk of the day-to-day danger. Of course, everybody's conscious it's there, but you always just hope and pray that there'll not be any violence or any hurt to anyone.
Is the governor aware that he may possibly be paralyzed?
The governor's aware that he has no feeling from the waist down at this time. As far as the doctors consulting with him as to what the possibilities are of this coming back to him and so forth, they have not. They have discussed this with Cornelia and various others of us, and the indications are that there's a possibility that he will be okay. You never can tell in these particular cases, but the bullet is not lodged as it's been reported in the spine. It is laying against the spine, and it appears from the x-rays that I observed that the bullet was spent at the time it reached the spine, because it came down at a 45-degree angle and hit various items interior-wise, and now it's resting in a vertical position horizontally to the spine. Yes, I saw him a couple of times, but the conversation consisted of just hello, how you feeling, and this type thing, and on one occasion he nodded, and the other occasion he said, okay.
He didn't say anything specifically to you that you could relate to us?
No, we didn't discuss politics or anything like that. I can relate to you some conversation that the governor had with Cornelia. Told her yesterday that he was feeling much better. Last night, Cornelia told him that he was leading in both of the primaries, and he said good and nodded. And this morning he asked for a paper and was propped up in bed a little bit, and I understand read some of the front page and some of the return. The last conversation that I had with the governor was prior to the shooting instance, of course. We had an agreement as to what we thought was best to do and this type thing, and I'm continuing on exactly in that direction until he's able to tell me otherwise.
So biggest effect then is just that he won't be able to make the public appearance.
That's right. Everything else stays as is, and the only thing that we have now is the fact that he will not be able to be with us public appearance-wise.
Let us pray. Our gracious Father, we are thankful that in a time and hour like this, we can turn to Thee, and the faith that we have held so long now will hold us. This be a somber moment to pause and to give thought to the seriousness of this occasion, because in this tragic event we find embodied what the governor has tried to point out to the American electorate for almost these 10 years. We have come to a tragic state in this nation when we find bullets being substituted for ballots. And this is apparently what is being attempted. This is not some South American banana republic. This is America, I would hope,